Hey, everybody, welcome. Good to see you here. If you're here on LinkedIn, YouTube, or Facebook, please type in say hey, hello. Love to see where everyone's from. I'm Alex Barker, founder of the Happy Farm D, and today we're going to be doing another transition series about retail to loving work again. I'm joined by my lovely friend, Julie Kidd, who is one of our Happy Farm D coaches. Say hi, Julie.
Hey, everybody.
And with us today, sharing her story, is Keenan Ray. Say hi, Keenan.
Hello.
So tonight, what we're going to be talking about is going from community retail specifically, some of the troubles that go there and what it's like going through that job process, what Keenan went through from discovering, like, not knowing where she wanted to go to getting exactly what she wanted to get into. And she just did her 30-day evaluation and she's still employed. So it sounds like things turned out well. That's awesome. And just sharing some of her story, hopefully inspiration, and hopefully pique your interest as well if this is a career that you'd be interested in. So, Julie, tell me about the first time when you met Keenan. What was your impression of her way back when?
Yeah. Well, I just loved her because she is from Virginia. So I immediately loved her. I'm from Virginia as well. And we had a lot of mutual connections. So that was fun to kind of play the name game together and figure out who we knew and who trained each other and all that good stuff. But man, I was just blown away with Keenan knew from the beginning what she wanted, where she wanted to be, and she was not afraid to put in the hard work to get there. So I never had a doubt that she would be exactly where she's at right now. We kept saying along the way, because of all of her hard work, she had so many opportunities. We called it Potentialville. That she was just kind of living in this land of interviews and different things. And so it was really fun to work with her and see her progression and the confidence that she gained in herself along the way. But I could tell from that first time we talked that this girl was going places and she was going to be so good for our profession. So yeah, now she's here doing exactly what she dreamed she would be doing in her 5-year vision. So I'm sure we'll get to that in a little bit, but I'm super excited for her to share her story with you guys.
Let's talk about the 5-year vision, because hearing the 5-year vision and hearing that it happened probably within a year time frame, if I'm correct. Yeah, that's pretty cool.
6 months, right?
Yeah, pretty
Hey,
close.
that's awesome. Okay, so there's that. And just as a heads up, Julie, do you mind taking off your glasses? It looks like your pupils are screens.
Oh, yeah. They're protecting my eyes. They're
Oh, they're one of those. Okay.
Yeah.
Awesome. Keenan, so tell us where you were previously at, what it was like, and just the kind of work that you were doing beforehand.
Yes. So I was at Publix Pharmacy, which I'm not sure if everyone is aware, but it's a bigger chain, supermarket chain similar to Kroger. And I was pretty much just dispensing. We didn't have a lot of clinical aspects that we were involved in with our patients, which is something that I always knew that I wanted to do and what I had trained for through my APPE rotations as well as a residency. So I was really missing that aspect. I remember telling Julie that too. I was like, I just really miss being able to have that closer one-on-one interaction with patients and take more time with them. So it's not that I was unhappy with the entire process at Publix, but I was just missing something that I knew I wanted in my career.
That's important to point out. I think there is and we talk about it a lot, I guess, on the Happy Farm D. There's a lot of really unhappy people in retail, but not everyone is bad, right? It sounds like things were not awful, but they were not what you really wanted to do.
Correct.
Okay. So before I jump, okay, I'm getting ahead of myself. So tell me about when was the moment that you thought, I need to get something else? Was it like the first day of work, or did it slowly happen over time?
So what happened was I finished residency right when COVID started kind of wreaking havoc on the job market. So places that I had been kind of talking with, they were no longer hiring or on a hiring freeze, or they were letting people go. So with loans and everything, I was like, I need to get a job. So I was kind of applying to whatever I could at the time. So Publix was generous enough to offer me a position, and they really, I appreciate the opportunity that they gave me. But I knew that wasn't the position that I was going to stay at, simply because I knew it wasn't a clinical position. So I kind of knew, as you said, day one, pretty much, that this wasn't going to be where I'd stay long term.
Hmm. So how long did you do that job?
So that was there. I started in July of 2020. And then I started
So
with
during the pandemic.
Yeah. And then I started with Happy Farm D in March of 2021.
Okay. So pretty much within 9 months, you're like, okay. How long had you been trying or looking for something? Like as soon as you got the job, you were continuing to look, pretty much?
Correct. I was still getting job alerts. I was still actively looking. I was dreading the idea of having to leave, because I know it's kind of taboo to leave a job that early, but I had known that this wasn't my long-term job. Like, I knew I wasn't going to be fulfilled with this job long-term.
Hmm. Before working with us, what did you think you would be fulfilled doing?
Pretty much what I'm doing now. Kind of a primary care, ambulatory care position, where I'm meeting with patients in an appointment, clinic-based setting, and really with a more direct, hands-on approach to their care, rather than dispensing medication someone else is prescribing them. I kind of have a hand in recommending what should be prescribed for a patient.
Okay. What were some of the things that you were doing during that 9-month time frame, looking for jobs?
So I was really just on all of the job search platforms and getting job alerts, and then applying through that. That's pretty much all I knew to do at that time.
Wasn't working?
No.
Oh, bummer. No
Yeah.
interviews at all?
No, none at all. I'm sure we'll get into that later, but that was one of the issues that I really talked to Julie about a lot, was how disheartening it was to not even have an invitation to interview for any of the positions I applied for.
Yeah, and you're residency trained. I mean,
Yeah.
from all, I guess, main perspectives in pharmacy, you're at the height, right? You did exactly what you were supposed to do in order to find that kind of position.
Right.
Ugh. So looking for a job, didn't find anything, knew what you wanted to do, but the things that you weren't doing the things that you were doing were not working.
Right.
So why did you reach out to us?
So I had been.
Oh, go ahead.
I had been following your financial pharmacist since I started residency. I remember we went to I think it was the new practitioner day through APHA, and they were there, and I absolutely loved them. So I started following them, and I was getting emails, and I finally got an email one day about this program, and I was like, I think maybe I need some help. I don't know what I'm missing, but I'm obviously missing something. So I obviously talked to Eric the first time, and I just loved everything that I heard. And then I got matched with Julie, and I absolutely loved her. So it was fantastic in helping me figure out what I was missing. And I do feel like this program has opened my eyes to what I was missing. But that's how I originally heard of it. And it just felt like I was needing like an extra push from someone.
So Julie, why do you think she was matched with you?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. Jackie Boyle is our lead coach, and she reviews all clients who come in and match to coaches. I think we have a lot of similarities, Keenan and I. So, I mean, again, we're both from Virginia. We're both residency trained. We both work in clinical outpatient settings. And so I think Jackie's a smart lady and knows how to match people really well. but I was really excited. I remember getting off our first call and going to talk to my husband, and I was just really excited to have someone who was so excited about what they wanted, and what they wanted, not just for you, but for the whole profession. I feel like a lot of pharmacists sometimes are just jaded, and forget why they got into pharmacy and what they want to do to help patients. And you wanted to educate patients and counsel them and help them figure out their medications. And your story of, why you went to pharmacy school made me excited. So I don't know, Alex, why we got matched, but I'm super, super thankful that we were matched together.
So in our program, the things that we focus on are clarity, systems, and strategy. I heard a 5-year vision about where you wanted to work. How did that help you get really clear? Because it sounds like you kind of knew what you wanted, but perhaps the exercise was more helpful or beneficial.
I think I definitely did know what I wanted.
This girl knew what she wanted. She did.
I was pretty sure, and I feel like I've known for a long time too, probably since my first year in pharmacy school, exactly what I wanted and how I thought I knew exactly how to get there. I think what was helpful is once we kind of laid out and she knew what my vision was, she was able to either push me in the right direction if I was kind of off where I thought I should be going, or reinforce that I was on the right track. I think that was a huge benefit of this program, is after having that long of rejection from the interview process or the application process, not even interviews, I was starting to think and question if what I actually wanted was attainable based on what I did, and feeling really downtrodden about, I thought I did what I was supposed to do and it's still not working. And Julie was able to just be like, trust me, you're on the right track. We just got to keep going. Like, you can't lose steam yet. So it was not only kind of hurting me, but also just reinforcing that I was doing the correct things to get to where I was wanting to be.
So you obviously experienced Julie's coaching. How would you rate her? What was the experience like? Julie's here?
It was great. I have no complaints. I remember being very nervous when she first told me I had to do the videos were like a really good idea, like the secret sauce, I was like, I don't know if I can do that, because I also felt very guilty reaching out to people. And she was like, people want to help. Like, I remember something that really resonated with me. She said, how would you react if someone, like a student that you taught, reached out to you in that way? And I said, I would be really excited to help. And she said, that's how others will feel when you do the same. And then I was like, I don't even know what to say. And she said, just go write it. And she was, listen, it worked. I literally sat down and I was staring at the screen for a bit, and then it just started rolling. So I also needed that push from her as well, just because it was such a foreign concept to me. But it was great. So she pushed me in a very, it wasn't pushy, but it was just, you can do this. It was very encouraging. Assertiveness.
She kindly guided you.
Yes,
right?
exactly.
Like a coach. Yeah.
Correct. Like a coach.
And Keenan, she came in knowing what she wanted, right? So that's kind of the first phase of my job, is to let's figure out what it is that you want to do. So you knew that. So we hit the ground running. And I think what you needed the most, Keenan, was that connection piece. And saying, hey, I might be young and just graduated school, but I have worth and I have value and I have skills to bring to the table. So I'm going to connect to these people and be confident about that. And so I feel like that's really where you gain your most confidence. And that's what got you this job, and multiple interviews along the way is you not being afraid to put yourself out there in a maybe uncomfortable position to make those connections.
Yeah, I agree.
A pharmacist on my LinkedIn, like a post I made, excuse me, like over a year ago, she worded it very well. She said, pharmacists help others, but not themselves. And while a part of our strategy obviously is networking the right way, in a non-sleazy and helpful way that should make other people feel good, that they want to reach out, they want to talk to you. And that's a part of our secret sauce. One of the secrets that we use when career building. It is nerve-wracking for people, but it works. So congrats. It sounds like the strategy worked for you.
It definitely did.
That's awesome. I'm curious, I guess I'm kind of going back. You mentioned previously that like you always knew you wanted to do patient care. How did you know that?
So when I was in undergrad, I worked at a pharmacy. I worked at CVS as a technician, and I really liked interacting with patients, but I didn't specifically love that position as a whole, especially after talking to the pharmacists that I worked with. And then my P1 year, I remember taking, I think it was the APHA, like careers pathway survey. And the results that I matched with was ambulatory care. I was like, I don't even know what that is. So I did some research and I talked to my mentor that kind of I followed through the rest of pharmacy school. And after talking with her and doing that research, I was like, this sounds exactly all the aspects that I was liking as a technician when I was at CVS, speaking with the patients, answering the questions they have, and without all the other aspects that I didn't really like, like not being able to spend more time with the patients. And again, having a more hands-on approach to their care, especially after I got into pharmacy school, realizing getting sometimes prescriptions in a retail setting or a community setting, you don't really know what the patient's taking it for. But as a pharmacist, you learn what they should be taking as a whole to make the most comprehensive care. So I felt like I was getting all the good aspects and then adding more good aspects with an ambulatory care position. So after I figured that out P1 year, I was like, I know this is what I want to do. And I just kind of ran with that. I had like all my APPE rotations planned out and what I wanted to do with residency and things such as that.
And Keenan, what I remember from kind of your story and your why of pharmacy is with your grandmother too. Your grandmother had diabetes, and her pharmacist is really who took the time and educated her and kind of held her hand through that process more so than her doctor, right?
Yeah.
You saw that, and that kind of is what first interested you in the profession of pharmacy and having that direct patient contact.
Exactly. She definitely saw her pharmacist a lot more often. They were in a very small town in North Carolina, so they were there a lot for this and that. And any questions, he was always very open and willing to answer questions and come out from behind the counter. It was a small independent. And she was so appreciative and just had a lot more questions answered through the pharmacist than she did the physician at the time.
So Julie, you're a coach at the Happy PharmD. You have this wonderful pharmacist who's interested in ambulatory care. How in the world do you guide her to find even the companies that would match her profile? What are the things that you're asking and talking about with her?
Yeah. Well, I think for her, she knew kind of professionally what she was looking for, but we talked a lot about where they wanted her and her significant other, where they wanted to live. And I think that's really cool about her story as well. She wanted to be closer to her family. She was still within the state, but she wanted to be closer so that she could go to family dinners and, do the things kind of week to week that really mattered to her. And so we make a rock star list when we go through coaching. And those are people who are doing the things that you want to be doing in the places where you want to be. So I think we've spent a lot of time on that rock star list for the location and the specific arena of where Keenan wanted to work. So we made that list and then just connected like crazy. I mean, that's where, rubber meets the road, is that connection piece of reaching out and continuing to reach out and asking, hey, can we set up a time to talk? And Keenan did such a great job of, she had Zoom calls scheduled with some of these people on her rock star list. She sent video messaging. So, honestly, she was a easy client. I just guided her along the way. She just had such the ambition and drive. But I think, again, it was, where does she want to work? And let's connect with the health systems that are in that specific location of the people who are in AmCare. So that's kind of what we focused on a lot, in making those connections.
Keenan, we love rock stars. So what I'm hearing is you followed our systems and it got you into the right people.
Yes.
Did it feel
sure.
awkward though? That is feedback we get about our program, is like some people, particularly like people with anxiety disorders, are like, I can't talk to new people. It is uncomfortable for some. How was that for you, following a lot of these guides and systems that we use?
I think it was a little awkward at first to do the videos.
Sure.
But when I feel awkward, I smile a lot. So I don't know if that's helpful or not. No one had ever said anything, well, hopefully they wouldn't anyway, that the videos were a little odd or anything. But once I started doing some, and I think I practiced, well, I sent a practice one to Julie, but then I also sent practice ones to friends and family that, that aren't involved in the pharmacy world. And that kind of helped me get used to it. So when I actually sent my first one or recorded my first one for someone that I was really hoping to make a connection with and that I was hoping could kind of point me in the right direction for my career, it wasn't as awkward.
Yep. Awesome. Practice makes perfect, right?
Yeah, for sure.
So how did you navigate the process of like looking, you identified the companies? What was it like navigating the process, and how did Julie enable you to follow the strategy?
I think so. We continued with job alerts as well, and then we would kind of discuss any potential positions I was interested in. But something that I didn't really think of that she really helped me with is my LinkedIn profile and really having a presence on LinkedIn rather than passively searching or reading other people's profiles, actively posting things that I'm interested in and that my future employer, I would hope, would be interested in. So ambulatory care topics, new technologies with diabetes care, or CKD medications that are new, things such as that. So that, and I do think that helped me because the position that I got was actually one that I wasn't even, like, I hadn't reached out to anyone at that facility, but the supervisor that I work with now, he's really active on LinkedIn. So I think that might have been, when I applied, he saw the LinkedIn profile, saw what I was posting, and he never said that, but he seems like the type of guy who's really likes being able to see what other people are interested in. So I think that was the most eye-opening part of it. Is I get that I had to search for jobs, I had to have a resume, I had to have a cover letter, but that part I was just like, oh yeah, that makes sense. I don't know why I've never thought about that before. And she really helped me perfect the profile and make it a more complete profile.
Yeah, LinkedIn, love it or hate it. I personally have some hate, but it's also a lovely place to meet lovely people. And there's a big power in second degree connections, people that you don't know specifically, but that are somewhat connected through their first degree connections. And it sounds like that's what this person was, right?
Yes.
That's awesome. The whole point of Indispensable, I'd reach for my book, but it's literally 2 feet away from my hand. So I'm on a live camera. I won't reach for it. But the whole point of the book was to talk about how to create a career that gets you job offers. So did you actually have to submit a resume with this, or was it more like we want to talk with you, just set up the interview? Did you skip the application process?
No, I still applied because
Okay.
I didn't know the supervisor at the time. Like, we hadn't actually. Now I'm trying to think. I think I saw the application, but I reached out to him. Yeah. Okay.
That's what
I
happened.
think,
Yeah.
and
You
then
still applied. You went through that channel,
Yes.
but you kind of you went directly to the hiring manager too.
Yes, because sometimes there are not hiring managers on there, and I was just lucky enough to find who the hiring manager was for this one. So I reached out because that is part of the process through Happy Farm D, and he was again extremely helpful and open, and told me he was really excited to apply and send the resume. He said, "Do it quick because we are wanting someone to start as soon as possible." And so I did, and it went really quickly after that.
So when did you get the job offer this year?
It was September.
September.
Yes.
Awesome. March to September. That is about our average, 6 months. Average for the American is 12 months, and then average pharmacist is about 18 months to find a new job, start to finish. It's ugly how long it takes. So now that you're in this job, you just had your 30-day eval, so you have a continued employment. Congratulations.
And can she tell everybody what she's doing? I don't know if we've
no, I don't think so.
Details of the job.
It's ambulatory care. That's all we know.
Yes. So it's actually a new position. So I'm the first ambulatory pharmacist at this health system. They were really interested in expanding that. So I am currently working within a warfarin clinic, but we are working on establishing diabetes pilot programs where the pharmacist is helping with that direct care, as well as cardiology as well for congestive heart failure. And then we're hoping to kind of expand. It's kind of like sky is the limit. They're very open to whatever I want to do. So that was a really exciting part as well, as they were like, we want it to be as big as it can get. We're hoping to obviously start small now and then work up to where we need more than just one ambulatory care pharmacist. So that's their vision, and they're hoping to have a residency as well someday, which I was very excited about because I very much enjoyed, well, probably not during the residency, but the prospect of one day being a site coordinator or a residency director as well. So that's what I'm doing right now, but hopefully it'll expand even more.
Isn't it wonderful when you get to build your career versus the other way around?
Yes.
That's so cool.
Well, I think it's another, I guess, critical point in kind of Keenan's story is with this specific job. She came to me and was like, I don't know about this job because I'm young. I've never started something from scratch. And so there was that kind of imposter syndrome there. And I said, Keenan, you're the exact person that they need to build this program, and here we are 30 days into this, and they're saying, Keenan, whatever you want, whatever services you want to build and incorporate, let's do, so even, in the midst of our coaching relationship, you were kind of like, I don't know, so you needed a little bit of just coaching there that, yeah, you had exactly what they needed and the skill set that's needed to build something from the ground up. And I feel like you do have this creative side about you that is perfect for this job. It's not someone telling you exactly how to change the warfarin dose and, do all these things, but you get to create different protocols and you get to create different clinical services in different clinics, which really aligns to some of your skill sets that you have.
Thank you.
Yeah.
You did it. How does life feel now?
It's funny because I don't want to jinx it, but it's pretty great. I was just telling my mom that the other day. Obviously, we got together for Thanksgiving. She's like, well, how do you like the job? And I was like, I'm scared to say that I love it, but I love it.
It's so awesome.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Any other changes to life besides just loving the job?
Well, I did get to move, as Julie said. One of my hopes and dreams was to be closer to my family. And luckily, because of where this is, I got to move back to Charlottesville, where my family lives. So I've seen them a ton. Not as much during the first month. I remember my grandfather being like, I thought you were going to come over more now that you're back home. And I was like, well, we're still moving. But so I've been a lot closer to them and seeing them more, which has been fantastic. Because as I told Julie, that was in my 5-year plan. I was like, I I know it's only an hour and a half away in Richmond, but I was missing a lot of family events, and it was really sad. And I was also working every other weekend at Publix, so I was definitely missing half of my weekends, which obviously they were like, we can't stop our lives because you're working. So I was missing a lot, and now I don't have to do that. I'm free every weekend, which is fantastic, and I get to see them pretty much whenever I want.
Oh, isn't that awesome?
Yeah, it's been great.
Yeah, I remember working weekends, and then when I finally got them, I was like, is this what normal life is like?
Yeah.
And same like you, actually. I remember thinking like, oh, I hope they don't make me work on the weekend.
Yes.
Well, congratulations. That's awesome.
Thank you.
Fingers crossed that it will continue, and you get to
Yes.
grow and hopefully hire some other cool pharmacists
Yes.
as well.
Yes. Very excited.
Anything you would tell that younger self, Keenan, like the girl who was hustling and trying hard, looking for a job? What do you wish you could go back in time and tell her?
I think, well, then I wouldn't have needed Julie so badly, but to be more confident in what I learned. I feel like I'm a person who, even though I know I'm on the right track, I will stutter easily. I'll stutter step easily if someone kind of
You're
shuts it
doing
down.
really good. I haven't heard you stutter once. I don't believe.
But so I think, again, I wouldn't have needed Julie if I was believed in that and told myself that earlier, is just be confident in the path that you've taken. You know you're on the right path. You know what you've done is what is going to lead you to that desired position. But every once in a while, or not every once in a while, pretty often I was feeling discouraged and maybe I had done the wrong thing. I remember specifically I did a community-based residency. I was like, maybe I should have done a PGY1 general, as people told me I should do. But I was like, this was very ambulatory care heavy. I think I did the right thing, but I would have, again, been more confident. Like, I know this is correct. I know this will lead me into that position because of the activities I did during the residency, not because of the title of the residency. But I always have that. I need reinforcement usually. So I just try to tell myself to be more confident. But again, Julie was there for me. So I wouldn't have needed her if I had been that confident to begin with.
Well, I think, Keenan, you're proving, I mean, you've had so many successes in the past 4 months, like you're proving it to yourself that you have exactly what it takes. You might need a little pushing and a little, get yourself out of what your normal little square looks like, but you have exactly what it takes, to be whatever you want to create. You have that.
What we've just described, I think, is the paradox of imposter syndrome. You don't believe that you have the ability. Other people do, but you don't want to believe them and you want to believe yourself, even though you don't believe that you can do it. So you doubt your ability. It's a weird paradox that keeps you trapped.
Yeah.
Congratulations on making the transition, Kim.
I could not have done it without Julie, that's for sure.
Oh, you were going to get there. You were definitely going to get there. It just might have taken longer.
Longer, yeah. A lot longer.
And time is money. So with that, I think we'll wrap up tonight's session. Keenan, thanks for joining us and sharing your story. I really appreciate it.
Did we lose Alex? There he is.
You did for a second. I'm back.
You're back.
Hopefully. Since that happened, I think now's the time for us to probably close up. Keenan, thank you for hanging out with us tonight, sharing your story. Julie, thanks for being here and for helping Keenan make this amazing transition into a job she absolutely loves. We're obviously here for all pharmacists that are listening to this. I was curious about her residency experience, but interestingly enough, we have helped pharmacists without residencies or certifications get into ambulatory care. So if you're thinking to yourself, oh, I don't have a residency and I don't want to do one, hey, I get it. Don't worry. There's positions like hers out there where you can get training, you can get into these positions. It is possible. Or if you're thinking to yourself, I don't even know what I want to do, hey, we have some tools, we're working on those, but I would encourage you to reach out to us. We'd be happy to chat with you and our team. Keenan mentioned earlier that she talked with Eric, who's our growth advisor at our company, way back when she first started with us. I don't remember the story exactly, but it was something about him telling her that I think that was your last COVID shot, which was like, that's like the perfect thing to say to encourage someone. You got this. And we would absolutely love to chat with you, even if it's just talking about what jobs are out there and what you can get into. So I believe you need to go to thehappypharmd.com/schedule, and that will get you in contact with our team. Thank you guys again for being here. Really appreciate it. And good night to everyone.